What's Spider-Man's blood type? Let's look that up. Why be easy when you can just die? Woo! I'm Chewy Mew, and welcome to my channel, but more specifically, welcome to another Chewy Mew video, where today is October 22nd, and that is the birthday of yet another Sailor Moon character. And you might be asking yourself, well, dude, which character's birthday is it today? And I mean, you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, but just in case you don't know, it's the birthday of Sailor Venus here. And so here are the two figure boxes. One of those being Sailor V, and the other one being Sailor Venus. So this is like her first costume, and then this is her, like, when she finally joins the team costume. Yeah, so I just want to say right off the bat that Sailor Venus is not my favorite character out of the main five. And so you might be thinking, well, dude, why'd you buy two figures if you don't like her that much? I bought three. And so here's proof that her birthday is October 22nd, 1978. I got this one online. When I first discovered there were Sailor Moon figures, I got, this is one of the figures that I got online. It came with all the accessories, luckily, and it's the US release, because the US release has this, a choking hazard sticker on it, which is impossible to take off. This one I got at Barnes & Noble, around the time it came out, and this one I got on, from Big Bad Toy Store. For some reason, the characters, they all have their blood types listed. For some reason, the writer, Naoko Takeuchi, as it says down here on the manga, again, I have her manga, and she's not my favorite character, so I looked up her blood type, and her blood type is type B, which I don't know why the creator put that in there. She put it, which is cool, but, I mean, it's never really important. There is one episode of Sailor Moon where this guy gets injured and he's losing blood, and then Sailor Jupiter's like, oh, I have the same blood type, I can donate blood, or whatever. You don't know what's Spider-Man's blood type? Let's look that up. Alright, so I looked it up and I searched around on Google for a little bit, and apparently Peter Parker's blood type is not stated. See, Spider-Man has had, like, what, like 60 years of content, and they never said his blood type. But Sailor Moon, she's been around for, like, what, 30 years? And they mentioned their blood type? And like I showed, she has a manga, and there's two issues, or two volumes. Originally, there was 3 volumes, but then they re-released it. And they actually, they made the books a lot thicker. I like my books thick. Actually, no, I hate reading. You can see the second one is a lot thicker. And that's because they increased the size of these, so they could just make all 3 volumes just be 2 books instead of being 3. Let's take a look at Sailor Venus here. So yeah, so those are all kind of the weird, like, fun facts I have about Sailor Venus, like blood type. Oh yeah, another thing is, we'll talk about that later, actually. So here is Sailor Venus's packaging, and you can see there's a cat floating in there. That's because she has a cat named Artemis, and you have this little backdrop here, which you could use for, I guess, like, photography or something. If you get it up close, you could probably use it for photography. Put the thing on there. And so right off the bat, I have 2 cats, and these are both Artemis. The reason I have 2 of them is because originally with all the Sailor Moon figures, I bought the bootleg figures, because they were like, it was like I got, like, the main 5 girls, and it was, like $30 for all of them, which is really cheap. You can see here are the 2 cats, and that's because, like I said, I bought the bootlegs. And guess which one is name brand? Guess which one's bootleg? The bootleg is the one on the left. You can tell because the paint on the nose is slightly off, and then there's, like, hair on his face. And then the white plastic does look better on this one, and also the crescent moon on his forehead is actually orange where it's supposed to be gold. But the benefit of the bootleg is he actually has a ball joint head, so you can give this guy better articulation, and he does have a ball joint tail, which is also rubbery, which is kind of cool. Whereas this one, on the name brand, his head only rotates, and it does have a ball joint, but pretty much all it does is rotate and kind of move. But I don't know why the bootleg has a ball joint head, so I guess they didn't copy the sculpt exactly. You also have this, Sailor Venus's mask that she can hold, because when she first appears in the show, so she has, like, her own separate episode where it's a little bit kind of like a brief summary of what happened to her before she joined the other Sailor characters. And so in that one, she's wearing the Sailor V costume, and then once she joins the team, for some reason she switches to using this one. So you get this mask that sometimes I like to display her like this, like she's, like, holding the mask on her face, and this is how she shows up, like a silhouette. And then you get to see her face, and then she's like, yeah, it's me, dude. Her face here with the mask. There you go. And this mask plus bangs hair. It's not identical to this one, so they didn't just reuse this face for this one. They actually did make a new one. Maybe it is identical, I don't know. At least they're slightly different color. This one's slightly paler white, or paler yellow, whereas this one's darker, little darker yellow with a lot more like wash here, whereas this one doesn't have too much wash, kind of more flat looking a little bit. But it is nice that on this one they did give you both versions of her mask, because you can see on the manga her eyes are actually exposed here. I don't remember if there's any part in the manga where her eyes are actually covered up white, kind of like, you know, the Batman eyes where they're whited out, like that mask. So you get like you get a happy face, you get like an open mouth happy face, an angry face, and an open mouth angry face. Then you get some fist hands, like a relaxed hand, another relaxed hand, a pointing finger, like wall crawling hands, and thwipping hands, which that's not what they're called, but this is for like her pose where she does this a little bit. This is actually Sailor Moon's pose. But sometimes when you see all of the girls doing their pose together, they all do the Sailor Moon pose, like where they have like the hands crossed. Happy looking face, like open mouth happy face. And here's the display base she comes with. This cool little base here. It's transparent, as you can obviously tell. Yeah, so you get these little like things you can pop out, so you can swap the part where you put the pole to display them. You can see it's Sailor Venus logo, Sailor Venus there, the little spiral things here. Then you get like these kind of star-shaped looking thingies. Like some circles here, really cool looking, really nice looking. I think that's, which believe it or not, the waist clip clips to her waist. I bet you never would have guessed that, huh, guys? And bang, there you go. And then it's because these have been played with a little bit and posed around and stuff. The bases don't hold. They're not as sturdy as they used to be. So here's the face, very cute face. I really like the face. And one thing I noticed, actually starting this review, is I have Sailor Moon here, and their eyes are actually differently designed. They have different designed eyes. Move the arms down here so they're not in the way. And you can see, if you look at the two eyes, they're actually different. Like, you can see on Sailor Moon eyes, she has the big white dot in the middle, and then a white dot on the left of her face, or on our left, and then right there on her right, or our right side, she has two white lines. And you see on here, she has the one big circle, a circle on our left side, and then she has one line here, where Sailor Moon has two lines there. So the eyes are not all identical, and also the blue color of their eyes is different. You can see her ribbon is kind of crooked there. See like the sailor like collar thing and the sailor shoulder pads, which I don't know if I talked about this before, but the reason they're called sailors is they're not actually sailors. There's like probably like one episode where they're in a boat. And so they're called sailors because they have sailor-looking outfits, which is also sort of like a reference to the Japanese like schoolgirl outfits, which is why it looks this way, just obviously with a much shorter skirt. See your ribbon here on the back. That's the one issue with this hair, is that with all the characters, you can't look up at the figures because their hair blocks it. But you can see the problem with their hair as well, because it covers it. You don't ever see her ribbon here on the back, or this very cleanly drawn or very cleanly painted on like the line on the back of her outfit, which that's really a nice attention to detail. This bow is not crooked. It is wiggly, which later figures they did fix that so it's not wiggly. You can see her like, looks like she's wearing heels with like a band here, which that doesn't really do anything, does it? It's not even connected to the thing. It's kind of just like an ankle bracelet or whatever, which is kind of weird. Also the face there, like I showed, if you take this off, you can actually see the crown. It's very shiny metallic color with like a little yellow like jewel in the center. She does have this nice wash here in the hair, like all the not individual hairs are sculpted, but you can see there's some distinction where hair begins and where hair starts. The farther you go up, you don't see as much sculpting here, which that is how she looks in the show, where the hair is more like drawn at the bottom, like at the tips, but then at the top it's not drawn as much. And she also has a really cool articulation where you can move the hair out of the way, or you could put them in the way more if you want to do that. Trying to get her hand out of there. I think it's really cool articulation they did there with the hair. Sailor Venus over there. Now let's take a look at Sailor V. It is the same body with the same articulation as Sailor Venus. The only difference is now the costume color is different, and she still has these useless straps around her ankles and high heels that are now blue instead of orange. And they are slightly different. These ones are a lot more flat on the back, whereas these ones are much more pointed. I don't know anything about high heels. I just know that that's what they're called. But yeah, you can actually see they are different. For the longest time, I thought they were identical, but they're actually not. On this part of her skirt here, which it is just painted on. For the longest time, I thought it was actually sculpted, but what? It's one of those things where it's been on the shelf, and it's not until I'm like looking at it more in detail that I actually notice, oh, hey, this is not sculpted. That's just kind of the same. Can I see the ribbon here, which it is a little bit crooked still with a yellow medallion here. You can see the difference in the bow. It's not the exact same bow reused. It's hard to tell, but they are slightly different. They might be identical, but I don't know. To me, this one just looks a little bit thinner. Or yeah, it is different. You can see how this one is more curved here on the side, whereas this one has a slight indentation. Yeah, you can see what I mean, right? This is, they are different a little bit. At least the top part of the bow here is different. You can see her necklace here is white with like a moon logo, whereas this one isn't. And also, another difference here is if you take her face plate off, you can see this one, she has a moon logo on her forehead. Because when she first shows up, she has a moon logo, whereas later on, she just has a tiara like the rest of the girls do. Yeah, slightly different color. It's this is slightly more red. That's a little bit more pinkish. In the camera, they look identical, but they are different. They are different colors. Look at that. You can spin her. That's cool. Probably shouldn't do that. I might damage it. And then she has like shoulder pads here, which also, fun fact, in the original concept art of the manga, all the girls were going to have different looking costumes. So, but then when they made the anime, the studio was like, hey man, that's going to be really hard to draw. Let's make all their costumes look the same. The only difference will be like the colors, the eyes, height, and hair and stuff like that. And I kind of like this one more a little bit. I just wish the mask was a little bit lower or the eyes were a little bit higher. Like if the mask was lower, it would cover the bottom parts of her eye. Because in the manga, as you can see here, her eyes are covered completely. And but here on the box, when you see a picture of her, you don't see the bottom of her eyes. So the picture on this is different. Like this one, you do see the inside of her, or you see the top of her eyelashes here, and you see the bottom of her eye. Whereas this one, you don't see her eyelashes, and you do see the bottom of the eye inside the lens. So that is a little different. It's not exactly like the picture, which that's a little unfortunate. Like, yeah, you can see here how her eyes do look different there. Like the whole eye, the eyelashes and the bottom of her eye are all covered by the mask. Whereas this one, they're not. I kind of wish it looked like it does on the box. It doesn't, and that's a little unfortunate. That's like my only like real complaint about these figures. Having loose joints is just because it's been like played around with and stuff like that. Or like with Sailor Venus, the faces are identical. You get like the happy open mouth, you get the angry open mouth, and then you get the angry closed mouth, and then you get a happy closed mouth. And then they also on this figure, I knew that was going to happen. They actually give you the spot to store the pole and to store the little clip here. You can see that's where you can put the clip. Whereas on the original one, there is no place to put the clip and the stand. You might be thinking, where do you put it? And they're like, well, screw you, figure it out. Because, yeah, they don't give you that. So later on, they went with these figures. They started giving you more parts to actually put these pieces so they're not just flopping around. Like most times when I put these figures away, I just throw the display stand and the base. I just throw them all behind the box, behind the figures packaging. It's that's okay. Oh, and also Sailor V also comes with the same removed holding mask, which oh, never mind. I was going to say that there's no face without the mask, but there is the hair without the mask, so you can do that, that's pretty cool. I think this figure is really cool. I like the design of it. It's different than the regular Sailor Venus suit, which I kind of like that. My only issue, like I said, is that in this mask, her eyes don't completely fit inside the mask, which is a little unfortunate. Now we get to the last figure, which is arguably I'm just gonna, whatever, just lay him down. Now we have the figure that is arguably the best figure out of all of these. And that's because right off the bat, you can see there's more stuff going on here with her costume. Sailor V has probably the most, stuff here. But that's also because this is from her solo adventure, so it doesn't quite count. But you can see next to just regular Sailor Venus here. Move her hands down. You can see there is a lot of improvements here. Not improvements, but just more stuff going on with the costume here. Like you can see just looking at these two, there's quite a bit of difference. Like her skirt sticks out a little bit more to the sides. She comes with a different bow, completely different bow that you definitely can tell that are different. The collar here is kind of the same. Shoulder pads are different. Shoes are kind of the same. This is also a little less metallic, which I kind of like that. You can put her down over there. And here's her base. So comparing the base to the Sailor Venus base, bend this back here, you can see they're different. Even the designs on it are different. This yellow is slightly more yellow. If you see, we can put them like this. This other yellow is a little darker. This one's much brighter, which I kind of like that. You can see like the dots and the stars you have on here are different. These are much more bigger. Almost kind of looks like a compass kind of a design to it. Whereas these ones are just kind of more just like twinkling kind of stars. In this box, you can also see the box is significantly thicker. Because you get a lot more goodies in this package, which is good. It is more expensive, but, I mean, at least you get a lot of stuff. And the instructions, I do have the instructions with this one. The other one, I didn't have the instructions because I got it on eBay, so I guess the person just didn't have the instructions anymore. You can see the paint on these faces. They look a lot more like skin color. These look a little bit too pale. Look a little too pale on these, where these ones look much crisper, and the gold they use is much more gold. The blue is much more vibrant. These ones just look like they've had more detail done to them. Let's move this aside for now. You get a bunch of hands, and they went back to this kind of dumb tray, whereas previously they had this packaging here, and then they went back to this, which this kind of sucks, because you're going to see what's wrong with this. When I open it, all the hands are going to fly everywhere. Well, they didn't do it that time, but most times the hands bounce around like crazy. I was really, really slow with it to not, mess it up. And you can see you get all the same hands here. The only additional hand you get you get this grabbing hand so she can hold her wand, which you can actually take the hand off, or take the wand off of. And just like Sailor Mercury, you can actually take this off. Because, when she transforms, you see her holding the wand, then this kind of falls down and goes like, boom, and then it spins around. Then she also has a winking face, which is really, really cute. I really like that you get a winking face with these. That's what they did with pretty much all of these super versions of the characters. You get a winky face, except Mercury. She doesn't have a winky face. She does have like a closed eyes, kind of happy-looking face. As far as another new face you get with this, because the other faces, like the happy face, is the same as the other one. Her mad face is also the same. She is just looking a little bit off to her left, or to our right over here. She's not looking dead straight forward like she is on the other faces. That's kind of cool. And you also get this this cute like blushing face. It's really hard to see, but she actually does have the red marks underneath for the blushing. It's a little bit based off of a scene where in the show she says something like, being this beautiful should be a sin, or something like that.
Being so beautiful is almost a sin.
As far as the actual figure goes, this bow is a lot more metallic, which I kind of like it here. In the show, it's just kind of flat. Like, you can't really make metallic stuff look metallic in drawings. Maybe you can. Take this off. You can see how crazy, like, glossy and metallic that crown looks. Looks really cool. Then you get, like, the little orange bead in the eye. You get the same ribbon as the other ones. This one, again, is crooked. You can move it, and then it kind of goes back to place. Is this the same ribbon as on this head? I think it might be. No, this is actually darker red. So they are a different color, which, that's pretty cool. I keep knocking stuff over. And so as far as the hair goes, the hair has the same kind of movement here. Like I said, on her necklace here, she has a star now. The shoulder pads kind of stick out more, which I think that looks cool. It looks a little bit more like, kind of like combat-ish. You move the head up, you can see the bow, which is also crooked. Man, all these things, I'm going to blame that sitting in the packaging made them crooked here. But you get these little, kind of a, what's this called? Like, ball joint tassels here, which allow you to move them in directions like the wind's blowing them away, which is really cool. Really big ribbon. These are also transparent a little bit. You can see my finger under there. That's really cool. As far as the paint apps and the wash on it, the hair and the body are pretty much identical. Just the bow is significantly more metallic with a heart logo on it, which is really cool. And her base here, which I already showed the base and has the same clip here. And, the hype part about this is you get 2 poles with Sailor Venus. You might be thinking, why do you need 2 poles, dude? You're insane. But also, they do serve a purpose. Alright, so here's like the first attack she has. I think this is called Venus Love and Beauty Shock.
Love and Beauty Shock!
That up here, but you do have this thing, which this is incredibly flimsy plastic. It's not high quality plastic at all. This kind of feels like the window on the front of like toy packaging. Like it's not super thick plastic, which I mean it's okay, because if this was like a super thick chunk of plastic, that would probably make this cost more, or it would just be harder to pose, and it already is impossible to stand. Also, it needs to be light, because this was heavier. This whole base would topple over. Because on the packaging, she's supposed to look like this, which that would probably take a long time to actually arrange this and set this up. Getting this specific pose took me maybe 6 or 7 minutes, because a lot of these figures, oh dear, a lot of these SH Figuarts, they're kind of meant to sit down for an afternoon and just pose around a couple figures. Because if you're trying to get a specific pose out of these characters, it takes so long to do it, guys. You know, it takes so long to actually get that pose properly. Okay, so after 15 minutes, no joke, 15 minutes, I finally got this pose, and it's not it's not exactly like the box. I'm going for this pose. I think it's called Venus Love Me Chain. You gotta admit, that does look pretty cool. I obviously on the picture it looks significantly better. But also they have the perfect optimal conditions to make that look good. I feel like mine doesn't look as good. It's incredibly difficult to actually, put these together here, because it's not as simple as it seems, Super, what's her face? Super Venus, Super Sailor Venus is probably my favorite out of all of these. Just because look at all the stuff you get with this figure. That's awesome with it. And then it probably Venus, and then last might be Sailor V. I don't know. I like the costume of Sailor V, but I don't know, just like the mask. None of these other figures really have issues. Just that her eyes don't fit in the mask, so that's why. But yes, that's it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one. I'm too tired to go woo, so bye guys.